Joe here with another episode of Riff Anatomy. This time we're going to be looking at Lamb of God's famous riff Laid to Rest, and I'm going to be recreating it in my own style. I've written down a few bullet points as to what I should look at and how to recreate the riff, because it's quite a difficult one, and I'm going to try and do it in an hour. So if it sounds like then you know why. Yeah. So if you have any suggestions for what you want to see in the next video, do let me know. For reference, here is the original riff. Right, so I'm going to give myself an hour to try and write my own version of this riff. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, so it's a bit of an experiment. It's the first time I've done it like this. So yeah, it's currently 3:34. Yep, 3:34. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I took note of is the riff is in 12/8. So that's the kind of 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a sort of feel that that gives it that kind of flow, that sort of rhythmic pulse. So I'm going to try and match that in my own way, and obviously there's a lot of chugging and I'm going to try and do some of that as well. A big part of what makes the riff so special is this Phrygian dominant scale that they use. It's a very sort of Eastern sounding scale, but they also make use of this flat 5 sort of flat 5 sound, so I'm going to try and use a bit of that myself as well. I think what really gives the riff its character is the fact that there's this melody that goes throughout, this kind of, you can feel the melody moving. You got there's a sort of a continuous melody throughout the whole riff, so I'm going to try and follow that as much as I can. But the last thing I did want to sort of take note of is this descending pattern. This kind of stepwise movement is pretty cool, because although there's still this continuous melody going throughout the riff, this motion gives it a sense of like a turnaround, and like it's gonna maybe start again or go somewhere else, which it goes afterwards. It goes to this. So I'm just gonna jam a bit and see what I can come up with. So something I think I've kind of found that I quite like the sound of is this using this flat 5 sort of sound in an arpeggio. So we're playing in the Phrygian dominant scale, and I'm going to kind of use the flat 5 within the major chord, this major chord, because if we follow the Phrygian dominant scale, we've got our root note, and then the second degree of that scale, the flat second, or minor second, sorry. That, if you follow it diatonically, is the sort of Lydian mode, or the chord for the Lydian mode. So I'm going to try and use that kind of, that sort of sound, I think. So I found something I kind of like. I quite like putting in this gallop. Just gives it a bit more flavour. It's just feels different. It's still got that motion, but it's moving away from the original riff slightly. Yeah, it sounds kind of metal. It's got that sound in it. Yeah, I like that. Wait, is that what I did? So I can feel that melody wants to carry on and sort of overlap the bar, which is what sort of happens in the original riff. So I'm going to try and work with that. I found that I quite like going down to this, so I might kind of use that a bit. It's these sort of chromaticisms. They kind of add this sort of metal feel to it, and it feels unstable. That's a bit better. So now I'm looking at another arpeggio. I'm looking at this minor arpeggio, really basic, but then I'm going down a semitone just to give it a bit of edge. So this is kind of cool. I might try and turn the riff round for sort of repeat 2 with this ascending line. In the original riff, they like to use this kind of position 1 sort of shape of the Phrygian dominant, this that kind of appears a few times. So I'm kind of using that in a way, and then I'm playing that kind of Phrygian dominant position, but I'm moving it to the 10th fret. Going up to that chord is quite cool. I don't even know what it is. Kinda sounds cool. Proper evil. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's just a minor third. Just an octave power, but yeah, just an octave with a minor third there. Cool, so I've got a basic framework that I'm going to try and piece together for just to sort of get like round 1 of the riff, and then see if I can get like a similar like round 2 that just deviates slightly and works in this kind of turnaround pattern to then come back to the beginning of the riff again. I'm still getting the hang of how to play all this right, so this could sound really cool. So this is cool. I can kind of use the open A string, or it's G string as I'm tuned to drop C, and kind of use that as a way of getting to the flat 5 interval here. It means I can kind of work this melody line down the neck without it being too awkward to play and having to kind of reach from down here all the way up to the 7th fret. Oh, I quite like this melody here. Not that.
Not this.
That step is quite familiar. That appears, that sort of interval movement appears in the original riff as well. That sounds a bit better, going to the minor third with that interval. I might just have the 1 chug at the beginning. I feel like the melody just kind of wants to carry on, and I feel like I'm interrupting it by doing the chugs between and. So I'm going to maybe take them out and just find a way of having quite an extended run without those. Right, I think I've got my first melody line. It goes like this. Adequately evil, I think. I feel like it still needs to have the chugs in there somewhere. It's just about placing them correctly, because in the original riff it just kind of goes and it's it's cool, but I don't want to copy it. I want to do my own thing. I can involve them with the movement up the neck. Right, so I'm going to do this Phrygian dominant kind of shape, but starting on the flat 5. Whether that makes any sort of theory sense, I don't know. I guess it does fit. Other than the flat 5, those intervals are still within the scale, so I guess it, we're not going too far away, but we're still getting that metal sound. I'm going to stick with the standard Phrygian shape starting on the 10th fret, so that I land on the 13th fret, which is kind of somewhat taking us full circle, because if I use that Phrygian dominant shape, I'm going to end up on the 14th fret, which is more in the natural minor scale, and I kind of want to avoid that because that's not really the sound we're going for. Right, interesting development. You've got 2 sets of chugs in the original riff. I'm just going to go with 1 and have longer melody lines between each one. When it comes to programming the drums and the bass, I might let them pull back so that the guitar is front and center for that part, or not so much front and center, but like more exposed. Might give more space for like a gritty riff afterwards, I like to think. I found myself in a weird, I've ended up putting myself sort of in between beats, which is difficult because this melody, I like it, but it's falling in a strange place. Right, I think I've got part 1 of the riff, and I might change it as we go. Yeah, I've taken 24 minutes to do that, so we'll see. Like, part 1 took me 24 minutes. Part 2 takes hopefully less than that. I've got time to like refresh it and find ways to just get it sounding how I want it to. But yeah, this is round 1, if you like. So yeah, that's where I'm at so far. Let's go back to that chug pattern again and see if there's a way to maybe bring that melody either higher or maybe a little lower, to see if we can kind of develop it rather than just repeat it again, because I feel like a lot of people just go and repeat that riff again, and I think it sounds kind of cool as it is, but I think there's space for adding a bit more melody to it, that or possibly even taking some away and being a bit more static, just to just to be clear that like this is part 2 of the riff, you know. So I've already found a way that I want to turn this around, and this is, I don't know whether this would maybe be something that you do when you repeat the riff later down the line, but a way of kind of pushing back what feels like beat 1. It gives a sense that the riff is really trying to move forward.
Keep moving forward.
But I don't know if it's a little too soon to be chucking that in, especially if it's like an intro riff, because that's what this, you know, this is an intro riff we're thinking about. I might put that bit in later down the line if I were to write this as a whole song, but I don't want to throw people off if it's the first riff they hear of the entire song. Tempted almost to chuck in, start working some octave stuff, but I don't know if that's going to be too new and too unfamiliar sounding. That's quite cool. What I might do is make this a riff of 4 parts. So part 1, part 2, part 4. I'm going to try and make it a bit like part 2, but with a turnaround, so that it feels like the riff's starting again. So we're kind of going A, B, A, C.
And then to X.
Pretty typical structure for riffs. They tend to do that, and it works. So I'm gonna try it. How long have I got left? Half an hour ish. Should be okay. I like that. That kind of tritone slide. That could be cool. Chromatic part. That's really awkward. Oh, that could be interesting. That interval, that sort of major 6 interval, it's reminiscent of the major 6 that we're playing here. It's the same interval. It's in a different place, so I could maybe, with that chromatic slide, go down to then emphasize, but over the 5th chord. And the major 6th of the 5th chord is the 3rd interval of the Phrygian dominant. So it's working now. My theory brain is ticking. What I could do is this part as the sort of turnaround. So on repeat 2, you get the same riff, but it's higher up. Could work. Oh shit! I wanted to put in that pattern at the end, didn't I? Okay. How long have I got? Yeah, okay, just over 20 minutes. I just need that last section now. I could do a kind of ascending pattern. I don't think that quite fulfills what I'm looking for.
Unfilled.
Unfulfilled.
It needs to be more fluid than that, I think. So the Lamb of God pattern goes like this. It's kind of a stepwise motion. I could do something like that. This is tough because I know I've not got that long to finish the riff. I feel like the melody wants to carry on after this part. It wants to go. Oh, I could do a really cool, like, sort of offbeat pull-off thingy. That could be cool. I like that. Problem with going to that 6th fret now is I don't have much room to send further down the scale because I've only got so many notes below that. Let's see if we can get this pattern flowing a bit better. I only need 6 more notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can do 6 notes in 15 minutes, I think. I could mimic that with a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I need 4 notes now, just 2 in between those chugs. Could go. Don't really like that. I think I'm gonna bring back that major 6 interval. See if I can use that in this little descending run, even if it's just as a chromatic, like passing note. Just see if it can fit in, just to tie everything together a bit more neatly. Quite like that. Ending on that 1st fret is a you know that the riff's starting again kind of moment. I can't decide if I prefer or... Ooh, that could work. A bit more chromaticism in there. It's on the offbeat, isn't it? I haven't counted enough notes. Nope, I think I'm good. I think I've got the finished product. I'm just going to mess around with it, I'm going to jam with it. I've only got, 11.5 minutes left. So I'm just going to jam it a bit, get comfortable with it and see if I'm happy with it. Again, I think if I had 10 hours to write this, maybe it would be a little more complete sounding, but we'll see what I can maybe change about it, see if there's anything that needs a bit of work. I quite like this as the last 6 notes. It's a good turnaround. It's kind of evil sounding. I've not quite followed that pattern idea that I wanted to, but I do kind of like the sound of this anyway. 9 minutes. I feel like I'm fresh out of ideas now, but I'm gonna keep at it. I might as well. I'm doing it for 51 minutes, might as well. No harm in 60. See what I can do. This little part here might be a little too nice sounding. I feel like it needs some sort of evil interval in there. Yeah, I prefer that. It's more evil sounding. We're just going, this isn't a friendly riff, we're just going for evil, and I think like, yeah, I like that melody as well. It's a to play though. Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, I like that little diminished change. Let's just see if there's any other stuff I can maybe look at. I'm happy with that, to be honest. I think I'd need if I were to make any real changes, I'd need a few days just to let it sit and just so I can get used to how it sounds and get comfortable playing it, and then start to improvise it slightly and see where it goes. But it's a cool riff, I think, and I think it is sounding pretty close to the original. Like, looking at my notes, I've kind of got the 12/8 thing, got that, da, 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 da. Definitely got the chugs in there, Phrygian dominant I'm using. The melody line is just kind of constantly developing, rather like the original. Pattern-based movements I'm kind of doing, sort of, yeah. I've not really repeated any patterns or anything. And that blues flat 5 I've definitely got in there a good amount. There's a lot of chromatic stuff in there that's to try and figure out what it does or why it does it. I'm not even going to think about that. But it's in there, so I think I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, that was 56 minutes. No. Yeah, 55 minutes. 55.5 minutes. So I'm pretty happy with that. I hope you all enjoyed watching that. Thank you for watching, guys. Do let me know what you want to see in the next video and I'll maybe have a crack at it. That was a pretty tough one, but I enjoyed it. It was a nice mental workout for me, and yeah, I'm gonna try and do a few more of these because that was good. Make sure to subscribe and all that, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.